What's up, Clark? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining, as always, my friend. Appreciate you. All right, we're live. Gonna give it a couple more. Hey, Harold, you dug out, buddy? Yeah, Clark. Cold is the operative word this week or this month. It's been freaking frigid here in New York. All right, here we go. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Holy Hannah's evening. It is January the 23rd in the year of my Lord, 2025. We are 3 weeks from the epic Angie's Angles 60th birthday bash from going to New Orleans. 3 weeks away. We'll be broadcasting live from New Orleans. Speaking of New Orleans, for those that don't know, New Orleans received 9.5 inches of snow. During the month of January, New Orleans has had more snow than Anchorage, Alaska. Greta Van, whatever your name is, in Switzerland or Sweden, wherever you're from, put that in your global climate, warming climate nonsense. Hey, Nick, happy birthday to your mom, brother. Happy birthday. Yes, Nick. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We all know Pete ain't going to Canada, for God's sakes. So let's talk about that for a quick minute. As my title says, Pete Alonso, pursuit of a contract, Blue Jay rumors. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon, there were a lot of rumors that Pete and the Blue Jays were on the cusp of a contract. They were still negotiating. It has now died. Those rumors were arbitrary. They were not true. And I found out something else, that both Bregman and Alonso are talking to their teams. Bregman's talking to the Astros, and Pete's talking to the Mets, because apparently whoever signs Pete and Bregman will lose international pool money plus picks. So it doesn't really make sense for a team to sign those two guys unless it's for less dollars and worth their while. So I said last week, I posted on Facebook that Pete's going to remain a Met. It's just a matter of time. The basics of a contract's there, 390, 380. Maybe an opt-out after year 2 for Pete if he reestablishes himself. But I spoke to Danny this afternoon when it came when the Blue Jay rumors came out. Danny and I are going to opening day at Citi Field, and we're playing the Blue Jays April 4th. And they said to Danny, are you cheering or booing Alonso if he's a Blue Jay and comes up to the plate? He says, without missing a beat, I am absolutely cheering Alonso. I said, well, my friend, we differ, because I will boo his ass if he goes to Toronto. There's no reason for Pete to go to Toronto, both for tax purposes, because now he's got to get more money to offset the extra taxes he's got to pay. Hey, Danica, hey. I'm sorry for the coughing. I'm dealing with this congestion still, weeks later. So bear with me with the cough. I'm sorry. So I'm going to say, when all is said and done, we're either going to see a 3 to 4 year contract with the New York Mets in the range from 80 to 110, depending on the years, and he'll get 1, if not 2 opt-outs. Officer Lennon is in the house. What's up, Jerry? How you doing, Officer Lennon? Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Officer Lennon, I know you're tech tech challenged, but if you can in the future, log on via YouTube if you don't mind. So we've got a lot to cover in my short half hour on Angie's Angles. We're already 4 minutes in. And let's jump to the two ugly elephants in the room. Elephant number one, CC Sabathia of the Skankies. Okay? CC Sabathia with a 3.74 career ERA, a 1.26 whip, 93 strikeouts over the magical 3,000 number, and he got 85% of the first ballot Hall of Fame votes. Now, let's take Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling's numbers blow Sabathia out of the water. Don't even come close. And yet Schilling, because of his personal opinions, political stance, was snubbed by the Baseball Writers Association. It happened to Eddie Murray. It happened to Jim Rice, who got in on his 9th year of eligibility. Because if you're not nice to these fat slobs, and that's what I'm going to call them, I'm going to call them fat slobs, that you dislike a person because of their political or vocal comments. Now, let's not forget, and again, we all have our vices. I'm not condemning CC Sabathia for being an alcoholic. He's gotten his life turned around. That's fantastic. As we know, there's Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford. Kind of funny that they're all Skankies. But they were all Babe Ruth, but you can't argue Babe Ruth. But they were all heavy drinkers, right? They were drinkers, womanizers, etc., etc., etc. But there is a citizen clause in the voting process. CC Sabathia admittedly pitched drunk, hungover, etc., etc., etc. Schilling did none of the above. Never. Well, Harold Clemens won't get in because of the steroids. Schilling was never part of that list. He was never accused. It was never, CC Sabathia had one season of 20-plus wins. Schilling had 3. Okay? Plus Schilling's lifetime. Hey, Chris, how are you? Why are you saying see you later, Petey, Chris? Do you have information for us? Maybe you'll do some breaking news for us, because the latest I saw is that the Mets and Pete are still talking, and that the Blue Jay rumors were kind of like media fodder. It wasn't really accurate. I don't understand how Sabathia, much like Joe Mauer, got in on the first ballot Hall of Fame and got 85% of the vote. I think Sabathia, because of the 3,000 strikeouts, the 2 championship years, the Cy Young Award once, maybe he gets in on the 5th or 6th ballot. The Baseball Writers Association is bastardizing the Hall of Fame. Now, we've had this conversation. It's become the Hall of Very Good, apparently. But if you could keep Jeff Kent out of the Hall of Fame, who has the second highest slugging percentage of all second basemen in the history of baseball with a 500 slugging percentage. Okay? If you could keep him out of the Hall of Fame, I don't understand one iota how Sabathia got in on the first ballot. But Clark, he had 93 strikeouts over the 3,000. Now, you all know that I'm a huge Nolan Ryan fan. And Kevin Elliott's of the world and the baseball groups on Facebook of the world, they all argue that Nolan Ryan was a compiler. Well, then if that's the case, and of course Nolan Ryan's a Hall of Famer, but if you're going to call Nolan Ryan a compiler, the 19 years of Sabathia pitching to get to 3,093 strikeouts, I think that's a compiler too. Okay? And I'm not a big believer of compilers, and let me tell you why. I don't like the compiler icon or the moniker that's hung on these guys, because to play in the major leagues, you have to bring value to the table. You still have to perform, because if you stop performing, the teams aren't going to have you, or you're not going to be a big cog on those teams. You might be the sixth rotation guy. So I honestly don't see. Personally, Sabathia is not a Hall of Famer. Again, 3,000 is the magic number for pitchers. I get it. And, of course, he got 3,093. Now, let's just imagine for a second. I think Dave Kingman finished his career with 473 home runs. Can you imagine if he hit 500? Do you put him into the Hall of Fame because he hit the magic 500 number? The answer is a hard and steadfast N-O, as much as I'm a Kingman fan. So all because you hit one criteria or one magic number, I think the whole body has to be analyzed and digested. And the 3.84, 1.26 whip, those aren't Hall of Fame numbers, folks. But enough about CC Sabathia and my diatribe. The other ugly elephant in the room is who the hell is the baseball writer that did not vote Ichiro into the Hall of Fame? Who is it? Who's the guy? Who's the guy that sat behind his freaking stupid ass IKEA desk in his freaking home office, consciously filled out a Hall of Fame ballot, has the ability and the grace and the blessings to be a baseball writer of association member, and you don't vote Ichiro, denying him a unanimous entry into the Hall of Fame? The only player to have 3,000 hits in Japan and 3,000 hits in America. The only player. The guy was a model citizen. He's quoted as saying, if I knew how much home runs were an important part of the game and for your stats, he goes, I would have hit 40 every year, because he could have. And not only that, he had one of the greatest arms ever to play the game. The guy had a killer arm and accurate as all hell. So congratulations to Ichiro, Wagner, and of course Sabathia. But I want that baseball writer to be outed. I want to know who it was. Probably some dumbass from Des Moines, Iowa, and no disrespect to the good citizens of Iowa. Yes, Clark, 1,000%. And here's the kicker, and this might come back to haunt the baseball and the Baseball Writers Association of America. Mariano Rivera should not have been the first player unanimously voted in the history of the Hall of Fame, because he was a reliever, dynamic reliever, the best ever. I'll give you all those accolades for Rivera. First ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. But zero chance, zero, that he should have been a unanimous Hall of Famer. And now we got this lawsuit allegedly accusing him, his wife, and the church of poo-pooing some sexual assault against a female minor. Now that starts to open up a lot of Pandora's boxes when it comes to the crispy, clean image of one Mariano Rivera. Okay? I don't understand how you're Mariano Rivera and you host a barbecue at your personal home in Rye, New York for minors, and you tell the parents they're not invited. That's a little fugazi, okay? That's a little fugazi. So I'm not really sure what's going to come down the pike on that. It's going to play out, obviously. It's going to be interesting to see. But now you've got the only unanimous Hall of Famer ever inducted into the Hall of Fame with the sexual assault, rape of a minor, allegedly. Let's be clear on this, right? We're all innocent until proven guilty. So I'd like to hear your input about that. Yeah, Clark. Let's put it up there. Clark, Kingman struck out or hit a home run, and he was not a good fielder in an era that did not have the DH. Yo, Clark, Dave Kingman is not a Hall of Famer, even if he aspired to the 500 magical mark for hitters. He would be the only baseball player in the history of baseball to accumulate 5 home runs and not make it to the Hall of Fame. Let's be clear on that. So I'm glad that he didn't make the 500 mark because, that would have been another whole conversation on Angie's Angles that might have lasted 2 to 3, 4 weeks. Curt Schilling was hated by the Baseball Writers Association. Jeff Kent was hated by the Baseball Writers Association. Eddie Murray was hated by the Baseball Writers Association. Jim Rice was hated by the Baseball Writers Association. And yeah, Mark. Hey, Mark, thanks. Mark, you're making me try interstatal. So, I just don't understand. Maybe we need to, I'm just looking at who's logged on in case I missed anybody. Okay. I didn't miss anybody. I always like to give shout outs. Mark Brooks, I hope your wife is healing up from her little injury or whatnot. We're praying for her, of course. So you heard it here on Angie's Angles last week. I've posted ad nauseum on Facebook that Pete Alonso, when all is said and done, will be a New York Met. Now, if he isn't, and the Blue Jays happen to sign him, I will be booing him a la Jacob deGrom that I booed when he went to Texas. There's also a rumor out there that the Angels are offering Pete 4 years, $100 million. Good luck going to California Angels, Pete. How'd that work out for Mike Trout? Why don't you ask him? How'd that work out for Albert Pujols? Didn't work out at all. So I'm not really sure. Mark Brooks, the Hall of Fame voting is political crap. I couldn't agree with you more. And do we restructure who gets to vote for the Hall of Fame? Do we allow our baseball veterans of yesteryear that are still alive, obviously, to be the committee that votes these guys in? Why is the guy that maybe never in his life saw Curt Schilling pitch live, maybe on television, et cetera, whatever. Or CC Sabathia for that matter, right? Because there's no baseball in Iowa. Only cornstalks. And apparently Clark, maybe. Yeah, so Kingman had a lifetime batting average of 236. Of his 1,575 hits, 442 of the Tatum variety. He struck out 1,816 times. But you got Kyle Schwabers of the world batting 216, 230, hitting 42 home runs, and he's a king today in today's society. Baseball has become bastardized with the home run numbers. If you look back at the 70s, every one of those all-star teams was a who's who of who's who. There was not one slouch on any of those all-star teams. Every single one of them were Hall of Fame potential guys. I mean, Dave Parker had to be inducted by the Veterans Committee, for God's sakes. Dave Parker was another amazing ball player who got screwed by the Baseball Writers Association. So the Cubs AAA is in Des Moines. What are they? The Des Moines Baby Bears. AAA. I don't. Again, I poo-poo it, but AAA is really not professional baseball in my opinion. My friend Larry Levy taught me something. He goes, you want to gauge a player, look at his numbers in AA. Because AA is where the competition really is. AAA is, you got these Asian guys that are carried on the major league team, drop down to AAA. They get a call up for a cup of coffee if needed. So you got pitchers, you got hitters that are at the end of their careers hanging on with a AAA contract. Clark, I'm sorry, brother. I'm not making fun of Iowa. I'm not. But you understand where I'm coming from. So you know, we've got the CC Sabathia upsetting us by this guy on getting into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. And Billy Wagner took what to his ninth, the last one? Was it his last one? I don't even remember, but very deep, right? To make it. And Billy Wagner absolutely deserves the Hall of Fame. If I was a Baseball Writers Association member, CC Sabathia gets into the Hall of Fame like you, like me, like everybody else in this on Angie's Angles, buying a ticket. Same way that Clemens and Bonds will get in. And A-Rod. You all buy the $28, $32 ticket to enter the Hall of Fame. Sorry. Clark wants to add, Clark wants to say, how many times did Bill Madlock win the batting title? No Hall of Fame for him either. That's true and okay because his ERA was so stacked. His error was so stacked. Right. Not his ERA, his error. So, you know, it really bothers me. I'm a purist. I'm a baseball purist. And I hold the Hall of Fame entry like almost like Hebrew National hot dogs. They're held to a higher authority. Okay? That's their motto. I don't understand. And before I forget, if he's watching, Randall, I'm giving you a shout out. Eric Floyd and all my friends, I'm giving you a little shout out if you're not able to comment. I know you guys might be watching, so a little hey, what's going on? We're here live at the Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. They're so kind to me here. I got the back room. I got my green screen backdrop so I could do the City Field. We're going to New Orleans, Barbara and I, to celebrate the big 6-0 for Angie. April 1st will be 4 years of Angie's Angles. It's rapidly approaching. I got to plan a huge, big event for that. So that's in the works. We're going to work on some video. Hey, Eric, what's going on? There you go. Thanks for commenting. I appreciate you, Eric. And Randall, I hope you're here too, bud. I appreciate you guys logging on. It helps a lot. Hey, Dave, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. So give me your opinions. Drop me a line on Facebook. Let's have some conversations. To wrap it up, Pete Alonso is going to be New York Met. I'm calling 390 for 100. Let's see what happens. I think his AAV needs to be $28 million or higher, between $28 and $30 million to make him the highest AAV first baseman ever. Hey, Carmen, what's going on? How are you, my friend? Yeah, yeah, right. I appreciate you, Carmen. Right, Sabathia, zero chance. He doesn't make the hole in my book, Carmen. And Carmen celebrated her birthday, everybody. So, Carmen, happy belated. I know I wished you on your birthday, but it was last week. So, Carmen's from Boston. Um, he sings a cappella with a group up in Boston. His wife got a job where the headquarters is locally. So, I had the pleasure of meeting Carmen about 2 weeks ago. Carmen shares the same name as my dad, so it's also an added bonus that I could call Carmen Federico my friend. Appreciate you being here, Carmen. Thank you kindly. All right, everybody. I can't believe it's 8:55 already. It's like, holy cow. And we all know what time that means, so we're into our prayer circle. Harold, as always, we're praying for your Dawn Squared, both your wife and co-worker. I understand your wife, Dawn, is doing better, doing well. That's great news. Scott Tobias checked in with me last week asking to keep his wife and mom in our prayers. Linda Stein, we're praying for your dad, as always, and your mom who just contracted COVID. So let's add mom to the list. And, of course, young lady, yourself. Linda had a young driver crash into her, broke her hand, so she had hand surgery. Sadly enough, Linda's sister, Karen, her husband's father passed away. So Linda made the drive up to New York one-handed because she has that hand surgery is only like a week and a half to 2 weeks old. Mark Brooks, we're praying for your dad, your wife, and yourself, young man. We're also praying that your house is being refurbished, rebuilt from the terrible arson from that a-hole that ruined all your lives. Kevin Elliott, we're praying for your health challenges. The Krause family, we're praying for Aubrey. And, of course, you too, Darcy. Clark, your brother-in-law, Brad, your sister, Tricia, and you, we're glad to hear that Brad is really doing well. That's great. Deb and Lee, we're praying for you down in Maryland. Marianne Bella, we're praying for your mom. My good friend, Big John in the Smoke Therapy Lounge, we're praying for cousin Richie. Phil's Nona. Larry Levy, we're praying for your wife as she battles the C word. She's in remission, which is also positive news. We're praying for Mr. McGowan as he's in rehab right now. As we all know, from a couple of weeks ago, he suffered a stroke. It's affected his movement. And the updates is that he's in rehab and getting better. Please keep my cousin Donna and Billy in your prayers and their son Miles on the passing of my Aunt Pat. As you all know, right before Thanksgiving, I went down to Florida. I took a little 3-day trip down to Florida and visited with my aunt while she was still with us. It's very heartwarming personally that I was able to do that. I thank God for that ability to been able to go down, spend the day with her, express my love, and thanked her for always being so kind and considerate to not only myself, but Barbara and the boys, Michael, Ryan, Angelo, and Danny. She never missed a birthday. She was very on top of that. It was very gracious of her. So I'll keep them in your prayers. Let's pray for California as more wildfires have broken out. It's very terrible what's happening in California. And let's not forget the folks in North Carolina recouping from the hurricane, the devastation. Kevin Carden, Georgia got a little dumping of snow. And as we know, whenever it snows in the South, it wreaks havoc on the driving because nobody down past the Mason-Dixon line knows how to drive in the snow. So we're at day 59, Mark. I appreciate everybody that's on here greatly. I do. Please spread the word. Please, if you have baseball friends, Carmen helped me out up in Boston. Spread the word. Angie's Angles 4121 on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. It would help me greatly. I do appreciate it. Last week's podcast got 1,900 views on Facebook. Post podcast. But it's wonderful to see that people click and watch my lunacy, if you will. This has been Angie's Angles coming to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 on Cockwood Avenue. Thank you to Michael and Lonnie for allowing me the back room. We got the door closed, so I don't upset the apple cart out there while they're talking and watching their games. Tune in next week, 8:30. Good night. God bless. I love you.